going to call this meeting to order for Polk County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. All commissioners are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on our agenda is for comments for items that are not on this agenda, and as usual, limited to 3 minutes. Okay. Nobody's looking to talk. That's fine. We'll move on to approval of the agenda.
Also move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Approval of minutes of July 30th.
I move approval.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Polk County Clerk update. Kim Williams, please come forward. We've asked you to come for our benefit to give us some facts based on the last public comments that were made and statements that were made, and hopefully you can help us weed through
We will do
what you know.
Good morning, board. My name is Kimberly Williams, and I am the Polk County Clerk. I have with me today Cole Steckley, who is the Polk County Chief Elections Clerk. We are here to give a report on the clerk's office and more specifically, voter registration, voter rolls, and our upload to the state of our election results. To give just a little bit of background, OCVR is a central system that all counties use within Oregon elections. OCVR stands for Oregon Centralized Voter Registration. This system was created to centralize all voter records in the state into one centralized database. Each county clerk maintains the records for their own county. For instance, Polk County cannot change records of any other county within the state except for our own. We may look at those records, but we may not change them. This also goes for the state. They have access to look at our records, but they are not able to change anything within our system. I have a list within OCVR. I set the rights of these individuals that can go into our system. So for instance, Cole and I both have complete access for anything in the system as far as updating voters, processing ballots, setting up elections. When we have signature checkers come in, their only right is to process a ballot. They may not alter any records. One of the main jobs of our office is to maintain the voters within our county. Polk County currently, as of August 5th of this year at 6:19 p.m. had 63,146 active registered voters. Before we fully register someone to vote, we verify their ID through DMV or Social Security. We have many different ways in which we're updating voters. We update them through DMV, post office, online voter registration through OregonVotes.gov, mail, over the counter. The state mostly sends us deceased records so we can cancel voters. Other counties, we update from ballots, confirmation cards, voter notification cards. Automatic voter registration for the Oregon Health Authority has not taken effect. It cannot be implemented due to federal regulations. Our voter rolls are constantly fluctuating since we have so many avenues that we're registering people to vote. To give you an example, on July 30th, I checked the number of voters. At 3:12, we had 63,095 voters. At 4:16, we had 63,124 voters. And at 4:35, we had 63,141 voters. This is how the voter roll moves. It's a very fluid process, constantly changing. You can grab a report and 5 minutes later, that report will be different because of all the updating we're constantly doing. As of today, our current voter registration, I checked this morning, was 63,147, which is one more than yesterday after 5 when I checked. So I researched, why did we have one more in there since Cole and I were not updating? In OCVR, We can register voters under the age of 18, but they do not become active until their 18th birthday. Somebody in the county turned 18 today. That was our voter. When we do update voters, we're updating from many different automatic systems, but I do want to state something. There is some responsibility on the voter to let us know if they move. We cannot keep track of everyone moving if they do not let us know. We do have a lot of systems that let us know. We update with those records, but there is some voter responsibility to reach out to us. We send out a voter notification card whenever we update a voter or a new voter. This card is there to let the voter know, we got your update, here it is. They can confirm that we typed in their name, spelled it correctly. They can confirm that we put them into the correct political party. If we did not, there's a phone number on there where they can call us. And if we can verify we made a mistake, we change it. These are not forwardable. They will come back to us. When they come back to us, we inactivate that voter because that address was not a good address. We also mail out voter confirmation cards. Whenever we inactivate a voter, they are mailed a voter confirmation card, letting them know they are now inactive in our system. This card is forwardable because we're trying to track that voter down. At that point, the voter can fill out a section to give us their new address, mail it back to us so we can keep them active in our system. They will stay inactive, however, if they don't contact us, so stay inactive. So before I finish, I would like Cole to give a rundown of how he uploads to the state our election results.
Good morning. So Kim wanted me to go over our upload process to address some concerns regarding the accuracy of the results that are reflected on the Secretary of State's website. And so I'm just going to kind of go from the start process of our office uses a DS-850 tabulation machine to count Polk County ballots. This machine does not have a modem in it and is completely offline. We actually reached out to the manufacturer, Election Systems and Software, and they provided us this email that states the DS-450, the DS-850, which is our machine, and the DS-950 do not have modems. Only the DS-200 and DS-300 precinct tabulators have modems. In a few states, it is legal practice to use cellular modems to transmit unofficial results from the polling location to the central election office. So the modem portion does not apply to the DS-850 because it is not included. When we start the upload process, staff export results from the tabulation machine using a thumb drive, and at that same time, we print results directly from the tabulation machine. Those results and that thumb drive are then brought to my desk or my workstation, where I use that thumb drive to upload the results to our election reporting software, Electionware, which is on a hardened computer machine that's once again not connected to any network. It's completely offline. And once that upload is completed, I use the printed report from the tabulation machine to compare what Electionware is showing to make sure those results match exactly what's being reflected from the tabulator. We do repeat that process maybe once or twice before we actually post to the state on election night. And so slightly before 8 p.m. on election night, I unbox a brand new thumb drive to put into that hardened machine and export the results file that we then use a Chromebook specifically for uploading. That's the only purpose we use it for, to the Secretary of State's website. And so that's the first time those results are even leaving our office to the state. At 8 p.m., they publish those. And when they publish those, we double check those results with the report from the tabulation machine to make sure those numbers are exactly what the tabulation machine are showing. And we repeat this process every time we upload throughout the portion of weeks before we certify the election. On top of that, we also post our in-house results to the county's website. So those are results directly from our office that are in PDF format. And so those match exactly what the state's site shows as well. And so I just wanted to reiterate that all results that are for Polk County that are reflected on the state's website are provided from our office and confirmed by our office after they've been posted.
So to basically kind of move toward ending our portion, I did briefly want to address a couple of the comments that were made in a couple of the BOC meetings. I also want to just begin by saying that I have a great relationship with both parties. I really do. They're easy to talk to, and we work well together. So I did actually have a meeting with one of the parties yesterday, and we went over some of their concerns. So I just wanted to mention through the research that we did together what we found. During one of the meetings, it was mentioned that there was someone that had voted after their death. We looked this up, their ballot was not counted. There was mention of a voter who had voted in our county, but also voted in a county in Washington. I did reach out to Washington. No one answered the phone. I emailed. But I did have additional names that they had provided to me that had voted in our state and in other states. I reached out to those states this morning. One of them was Tom Green County in Texas. I spoke to a lady there, and the voter that voted in our county in November of 2022 did not vote in their county. And I have email confirmation from her on this. Vonna Hudson is who I spoke to, and she sent me the screenshot that that voter only voted in our county. There was also two voters that names were given to me that voted in our county, but also Cache County, Utah. I reached out to Cache County, Utah today, and they confirmed over the phone that these two voters did not vote in their county in November of 22. They only voted within Polk County. There was also mentioned of, I think it was 50 people being registered at a baseball field, and how are those ballots being handed out? This is our homeless population. And no one is saying that the homeless do not have a right to vote, but I'm just putting it out there that they do have a right to vote. And they do not have a residence address they can claim. They're homeless. So what they provide to us for their residents is Wallace Marine Park, but the ballot goes to a separate mailing address. Typically, it's a family member that holds their ballot, or it'll go to a place like Hometown Postal, where they have different mailboxes there. But I want to reiterate that we do not just send 50 ballots to a baseball field. They go to a mailing address. Like the previous clerk before me, our office will continue to be transparent, and my door is always open for any concerns or questions. I have found that over the years, if an individual takes the time out to come meet with us, give them a tour during an election, or just to sit down and have us go over the registration process, they will always leave satisfied that we have a good system. I also want to request in the future, this goes out to everybody, including the board. If you have any questions, come to us. The biggest thing that our office is dealing with is misinformation. It gets put out there, and at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to deal with the misinformation. So all we ask is please come to our office. We love to meet with you. If I find fraud, I will be the first person to turn this person in, first person to do it. I'm not trying to hide anything. Our office is open. We love to talk to individuals. So please come and ask us anything. And that's my conclusion. Did the board have any questions for us?
I just got a statement. I've been helping with questions on honest elections, and you guys have been phenomenal in addressing those. And it is, most of it's misinformation. What appears is not always what it is. And the time you've spent with me personally, I really appreciate. So
Thank you.
I have the most, and I've always said Polk County has the most honest elections, I think, in the state, or as good as anyone. And That's just, thank you. I just love your thoroughness and your openness.
Thank you.
Here it comes. Yes, I have some questions. So first I'll state that I'll be the first to admit that I do not trust Motor Voter. I told Kate Brown when she was Secretary of State in my office in the Commissioner's suite, I don't trust what you're proposing. I've not trusted it since. And so mostly because I don't like the way DMV runs or alleges to run. It is concerning. I hadn't heard about the OHA piece, so I'd like to elaborate on that just a little bit more. I do appreciate that you said federal government says you can't do it, but just so we can all be a little bit more aware of the facts specific to what is it OHA is suggesting?
You know, we have.
Oregon Health Authority for the record.
Yes, and we haven't dived into that too much just because we heard that it was not going to be implemented. But there was a lot of concern of privacy rights with individuals and just logistics of getting people registered to vote because we do want to have a clean system. And so when we do, as I read, all these different avenues that we're updating voters from, it's one more for us to work with. And so there was a lot of concern about, you know, how do we get these records? How will they come to us? You know, how do we verify, you know, citizenship? So there was just a lot of concerns just within the state. Federally, I'll be honest with you, I do not know why federally they said we can't implement it.
So when you get time, would you explore that a bit more?
Yes.
And give us a response to that?
Yeah, yes.
I think it's important for us to know what's going on there. We have a state agency that's apparently trying to implement something that they haven't done before. Cole, you talked about the cross-check process. Has there in both your time in the office, has there ever been a time where you found a challenge with the cross-check process in the state?
No, I mean, every time we've uploaded, they've matched exactly. We've never had to figure out why some numbers are skewed or anything like that. And we also do post-election audits, hand count audits after bigger elections like this to make sure the tabulation machine is tallying the batches correctly. So the state assigns about 5 to 8 batches that they want us to hand count. And every time we've done those results match exactly what the machine is reporting.
Or within one?
Oh, well, yeah, sometimes.
Two experiences first.
Yeah.
Within one.
Yeah, sometimes there's our boards while processing will miss a vote that was a strike through or something like that, but yeah, it's very close.
And then the other thing I think that's a concern for all of us, and it's something that I hear a fair amount about, and I see it in social media a lot, is, you know, the trust in U.S. Postal Service. And again, I have significant concerns about, we have the U.S. Postal Service deeply embedded in our process.
Mm-hmm.
And it does frustrate me a great deal that you have to wait days, if not weeks, for the U.S. Postal Service to deliver batches of ballots to your office. And there's no way for you, from what I've understood, no way for you to intervene in that and actually go collect those ballots that have been batched in another county. You have to wait on the U.S. Postal Service to deliver them to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, so the ballots that are mailed out from the Portland post office, we export the voter list so that they generate and package those ballots. And then if your ballot's been mailed out and you haven't received it, I mean, we always state that if you haven't received it within a week timeline of when we mailed those out, to reach out to us and we can deactivate that ballot and generate a replacement ballot to give you over the counter or to mail exactly from our office. So we always provide that as an option, but I believe the clerks also meet with the U.S. Postal Service or the head, and they're in close correspondence with them regarding the processes of getting ballots out to voters.
My question was more specific of getting them back.
And people.
To us?
Yeah.
People can drop a ballot off at another county and they make sure that we get that ballot. It has to come through certified mail to us. I haven't heard of the post office delivering ballots to the wrong county before. They will just come to us. But there is a process. If a county does get one of our voter ballots, they have to get that to us via certified mail. I will say Marion County, since we are so close to them, they will contact our office and they have to give us voter IDs, voter names. And they have to keep a log of that, and then we keep track of that. And they will sometimes, if they get a bunch of Polk County ballots just turned into their drop sites, bundle those together and drop them into one of our drop sites. And then when we get those out, then we make sure that we got every single ballot that they told us that we should have received. And we do the same for those counties as well.
You have high confidence that that portion of collecting ballots is accurate and that it's being completely
Yes.
fulfilled.
Yeah, are you, as far as like other counties getting them to
Yeah.
us?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, if they're
100%.
dropped in our ballot boxes, obviously they're safe.
Yes,
But if they're
Yes.
dropped in another ballot box in another jurisdiction,
yes,
Yeah.
there's,
yeah.
and
There's,
you're waiting on other people, other
Yeah. And
jurisdictions. to
there
collect
is a
them.
time restraint that they do have to get that ballot to us. Like they have to get that out to us within, I believe it's 48 hours.
yeah.
They have to get us that ballot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I have complete confidence in that, yeah, we're getting those ballots back.
And what is what does our future look like with regard to drop sides and process for collecting finished ballots versus, is it going to change versus just waiting on the mail to deliver as many as
Well,
it does?
The big process that we'll have this next election is we did order new ballot boxes. And so these boxes will be replacing the smaller metal boxes that we've had in different places across the state. These ones will be more secure. Not that the other ones weren't secure, but these will just have a different level of security as they'll be bolted down boxes, completely locked up. And they can collect more ballots. We're anticipating, obviously, that November we will have a big return. So these ballot boxes are able to hold more. So that's a change that we have coming up. But there has been no mention of any other change as far as the mail process or the delivery of ballots back to us. That will remain the same. We're just going to have a different look to our ballot boxes. And I'm actually in contact with Eric through GIS. And so we'll have something on our website that people can go to and click on that ballot box and it'll give directions on how to get there. So because the ballot boxes could be in a different location, we want voters aware that and an easy followable instructions for them to get to that ballot box.
Will there be more sites, ballot box sites in
No,
November than there have been?
no, it'll be the same. They're just going to be outside of a facility rather than inside. I'm not saying that we won't maintain maybe some of those smaller boxes like at different locations. But the intent is for us to have those big boxes all out for the November election.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cole, you mentioned that there, the Secretary of State requires kind of a random sampling of hand counts just to, can you remind us when an automatic hand recount is triggered? Is a certain,
I forget what the threshold of.
There's a
the-
formula they have and it
There's a
calculates.
formula.
Yeah, if the
Yeah.
results are within. a
So if they're
certain
close.
Threshold, then yeah, it triggers that
Okay,
automatic.
it's just barely more than 11.
okay,
It's a tight number for sure.
okay, and then who conducts that recount? That hand count, I should say.
We will, and we usually
Architects.
set up actually down here. Usually if we have a big recount, we usually come down here.
Mhm.
And then I think Morgan usually will sit down here. This time I would sit down here, usually prior it was Val. I think the parties are invited to watch that process. And it's basically how the board processes our ballots during a big election, but just a smaller scale because it's a recount usually of just, one measure or race. But it's the same process. They go through and they recount those ballots to make sure that the machine was correct. And it always has been, so.
How many people do you have involved in that recount? How do you get the volunteers to come in?
We
to do
usually
that?
have the same people come back. We have had to call in extra people if it is like a countywide recall or not recall, but recount. So we could have, 7, 8 boards down here. So we do at times have to open that up and have more people. But I'll be honest with you, I have so many people volunteering to work our elections that there's usually, not a shortage of people. I just got 3 emails within just the last few days of people asking, to work in the election. So I usually have to turn people away. I did reach out to both parties this last election, asking them to send me people their way, just letting them know that, hey, we're open, come watch the process, work in the process. Hopefully that'll give you, more confidence in the process. My hiccup this time around was I couldn't have any PCPs, and most of the people that volunteered were. But for this next election, that won't be the case. So we have our regulars that come in because they know what they're doing and they in some way help the newbies that come on to help, on the board. But yeah, so we have an abundance of people that want to work.
Good to hear, and I appreciate the open door to civic engagement in the process, but also I can say that when I was in Fall City and thinking about running for mayor, I called Val at the time, the office, and boy, it was like the best customer service I ever had. I was very intimidated by, I'm sure there's this crazy process, but she really helped me walk through that. So that's the kind of message to folks who might want to be a PCP or run for school board or anything. If you're interested, I really appreciate that level of service too. So there's lots of ways to get engaged, both in the elections process and perhaps as a
Yes.
candidate. So
Yeah, we are moving. We're hoping that maybe we'll do 24-hour live streaming this time around, just so there's no concern on what could be going on after 5 o'clock when the cameras are going off. So I am, hopefully to work with IS to get that going too. So yeah, so we're really just trying to be helpful and as transparent as we can be, and
appreciate it.
I do have one final question, and you can comment on this or not, but on the ballot in November, they're gonna have choice ranked voting. Has the Clerks Association made any statements on this, or what's your feelings?
I think the bottom line of it is if it does become law, we have to follow it whether we like it or not. Obviously, there's always going to be concern when there's a new way to vote, being introduced. It's how do we do this? Because you want to keep that voter confidence up. And so, there's concern in that way of how do we relay, because it is a confusing process. We're still trying to figure out it ourselves. And so that's my main concern about it. It's just keeping that voter confidence up with the new way to vote. I mean, personally, it's hard to comment because I see the pros and cons. I see both sides, So again, my job isn't really to, I hate it, I like it, but just if it becomes law, we implement it and we just keep doing the best we can, and we'll have to work our way through it. But we have a good relationship with everybody across the state. The clerks are all very tight. And so it'll be something that we'll get through together if it passes. So
Thank you.
I won't tell you how I'll vote on it, but if it passes, so.
I'll tell you, I'm standing against it. I believe in simple, vote for the one you believe is the best person and let that stand. Ranking people doesn't matter after the first choice. So we don't need to understand who came in second or third. We just want the true winner and the best candidate to serve the people we possibly can. So, thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks so much.
Oh, you're
Good job.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hoping to answer.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Kim, real quick, you said you may have 24/7 video coverage in there.
Maybe.
If that happens, will you let me know?
Of course.
Because
Yes.
our custodian will need to know that they're on.
They're on camera. They can get a little taste of our life, yeah.
Okay, do we have any non-listed items? Hearing none, we are adjourned.